Morning, everyone.
Morning.
I teach an art called Seicho Jutsu, which is the art of growing physically, mentally, and spiritually. Today I will be demonstrating and explaining three main points of awareness, number one, balance, number two, and energy, number three. Awareness is probably the first and foremost thing that you have to become aware of. Everybody thinks they are aware, but people's understanding of awareness is very limited. So it's like you could ask somebody to come and punch you. For example, come here, Mike. I ask Mike to come to punch me, and as he comes to punch me, now, I didn't tell him to be aware of how he punches, I just told him to be punching me. I found out a lot of people that you say, come and punch me, they're not aware even how they punch and how their body changes. So if somebody's punching with their lead hand and their lead leg, they're not really aware of it because they just think they're punching. Now whether they punch with their hand vertical or horizontal, everything changes. Whether they punch with their knee bent or back on their back leg, or if they punch across, their whole bodies change in everything that they do. So your awareness of that is very important to how you're going to act or react given the situation. In this situation, as he comes to strike me and I move off to the side, I have to be aware of what he can do. I was going to punch him, I was going to take out his leg, I was going to do this, but let's look at what he can do. He can give me his elbow, and I have to be aware. Everything we do has to come from an awareness. And what he can do, if you're not aware, you learn the hard way usually. The first thing, you always have to be aware. Then your techniques will follow. He comes to elbow me. As that elbow comes up, I have to go with that elbow, redirecting him into this position here. Where if I wanted to put him into an arm bar or knee him into the face, even from this, he could then come around inside of me, and I have to change that again here, putting into another arm bar. I have to be aware of what he can do, which leads into my next technique here. From this position, I'm going to knee him in the head, or knee him in the back, take him straight down. There's not much that he can do from here, except for fall. And if he falls, and I don't want to go with him, I'm just going to drop him and kick him in the head as he hits the ground. That would be about as close as it gets. So there's a few things. Let's say I come to strike him, and he goes to do a technique, and from this position, I was aware that he could punch me. I intercepted his punch from this point. He's going to do a secondary technique, and as he did, I had to know that he was coming to punch me. I trapped his punch inside of here. You might not have been aware of it. I knew it was going to happen. I'm in a weird position here. What I have to do is move in a position that would make it better for me. Again, I'm aware that he has strength, his center of gravity, and where my center of gravity is, and since I didn't take him out and take his center of gravity away, he still has some type of power, so I can come in and take this leg down. I'm aware of what he can do. I'll stay down there for a minute because I'm not done yet. From this position, if I wanted to come to kick him in the head and pop back his arm, I can do that. If I pop it back this way, I can do that. If I wanted to sit down, I won't do it, but I'm going to sit down and crush his head in the back like this. Right? Which really hurts. It's like a scissor. I can then continue popping in here. I can give him strikes to the ribs. I can give him strikes to the kidneys. I can give him strikes to the groin. It's all good. If I wanted to play with him, bend his arms back. It's all a matter of being aware. Balance is another key point. So as he comes to strike, or no, I'm going to come to strike him. It's too easy for me. So as he doesn't even know what was going to happen there. If I'm in a bad situation, so I have to step back inside, kick him in the stomach. Just because he's stronger than me, he's in a dominant position, I'm in a side stance, which isn't, he can come forward, and I don't want that. If he does come forward, I have to redirect that. If he did come forward for that, then I can come up to hit him in the knee, hit him in the stomach, and then take him down again from this position. he could scoop me. Go ahead, scoop me. And as he comes up to scoop me, I jump up with him, take him back down again, because I went with his energy. In this position here again, I can pop his arm, I can take his neck back, I can then go to hit him in the throat, I can hit him in the carotid artery. It's all good. I can then again turn him right around on his belly, where he can't have a chance of striking me, and finish him off again. So there's really giving me full advantage here. If I come to strike him and he goes to defend, in this position here, again, he's got to be aware of what I can do. I've got to be aware of what he can do. As he goes to counter, I have to then again go with his energy. So where we were, you can see his counter is coming across this way. I have to then go back with that energy. I can punch him, he can punch me. If he's coming to punch me, because like I said, you have to be aware. I can come to do this, I can come for his leg, I can come for his elbow, but he can do something too. So he goes to do what he's going to do, and I have to then again take it again into an arm bar where I can pop his arm if I want to, come back with a hammer fist to his optical bone and finish him off if I so choose to do so. It's easy for me to defend. Let's say he comes to strike me, and as he comes to strike me, it's very easy for me to defend from any situation, but you got to realize that nobody is going to come and strike and stop. So you have to be aware that people are going to continue their attack. If you're not aware that people are going to continue their attack, you'll be in for a rude awakening. So as he comes to strike, I don't know, do whatever you did last time, and I'm in this position, he's continuing. He has to continue and being in position where I could then take him out. I take him this way. It's because I'm aware. What I'm aware of is if I took his arm flat down this way, he can crawl up on his knees and roll around, and I can get his knees and his hands behind my head, and I really don't want to be there. So the reason why I moved his arm forward is because I know physically, once your arm is forward, you cannot roll over on it. So what I do is always from an understanding of how his body works and doesn't work, and the opportunities at hand, and the awareness of what I can do combined with what he can do. Again, let's say he comes to kick me. As he comes to kick me, and I step outside of his kick, I turn him this way. There's an important reason why I did that. Stand back up. If I would have turned him this way, or even stepped outside of his kick this way, I'm aware that I could be hit. I could even do this and then say, now I have to guard this, which is still not good. So the reason why I moved the way I moved is because I have to be aware of what he can do. I want to put myself in a superior position so that I have to work less to do what I have to do. So again, we'll finish this off from the kick. He comes to kick, and as I come around, I'm crossing his lead hand. Because if I was here, I'm going to get hit. I know that. I'm crossing this lead hand out here. I can take this leg out, I can pull this leg out and then up in a circle if I wanted to be me. Again, I know what he can do. He can come up, he can try to pull down, so I'm going to turn his leg this way to put him in this position. From here, I could go into ground fighting, I could go into ankle locking him, but what I prefer to do is just get up and stomp him in the head and leave, rather than get into the ground and squirreling around, and who knows what could happen with a big guy like this. I'm going to strike him, he's going to defend. As we're in this position, and I come to strike him, he's hit me in my ribs, which is stopping me. It's a pretty good technique. Now, I have to pass that by. If I don't pass that by, he's coming to hit me again. And then I have to pass that by. When I pass that by, look, I got another camera here. I elbow him in the face. Because I know he's going to come and pick me up and scoop me. So I come to elbow him to change that, redirect that energy back down again, be in a position. I never want him to be on his back. So his legs can come up and he can grab a hold of me. So I always turn him around with my legs in this position here. I'm in total control again. I can finish him off. If I mean, I could pull his head, crank his neck, pop his wrist at the same. I have the arm here, but I also have the wrist here. It's very effective. There's not much he can do. He's going to try to get up with his other arm, but as he does, I'm going to hit him back down again. Even if he does, I can let him. If I do apply this on him, I'm going to make him do a somersault. I'm aware of that, right? And now he's taking my center of gravity away from me. That's not smart. You have to know what to do. In this position, before he takes my center of gravity away from me, I have to then change back around. In this position, again, I have to roll him over. In this position, because I want to avoid his feet coming up and him coming to strike me. I'm always in a controlling point. The energy is important because the energy reflects your spirit. And your spirit can become, let's say, earth-like. So as he comes to strike me, and I come to be resistant, strong, striking him in the center, striking him in his head, and then buckling him down, there's not much he can do because my energy is earth and it's settling, my breathing, my circulatory system, endocrine, adrenaline, everything changes on how I feel. So it's very important. If he comes to strike me and I'm feeling light, it's like nothing that he can do. I don't know if you realize this, but I'm choking him. This is a scissor choke. See? There's not much he can do from here other than get choked out. And why that works is because I'm turning this knuckle and my thumb down into his carotid artery as I go to do this. His center of gravity is off, so there's really nothing that he can do. Does anybody have any questions here? No? Okay. Just in case somebody had any doubt about what I can do, I'll bow you out there for a minute, Mike. Come on up. This is Grandmaster Eddie Rose. He's been with me since the early 90s, coming to Canada to train. It's, again, I'm going to go to strike Grandmaster Rose. He's going to defend, and as he's defending, he continues on to his strikes. And I look at this and say, I want to come back around and then take him down in this position here. See how he's fighting from going forward? So he goes backwards. As he goes backwards, he gets his arm broken again. It's all a matter of being aware of what he can do. It's important. So let's say I go to strike him and he's in this position. He's going to continue attacking me. And as he did, I'm coming in this position again where I can again come to strike him, see where his body is, where he's not strong. For me to come forward and do this kind of stuff is coming into his strength. I'm aware of this, so I'm going to take him away from his strength. In this position here, I'm preventing him from rolling on his back by my knee. He'd love to roll on his back, bring up his legs and sort of turtle where he can defend himself. Here he can't. I'm in a dominant position where it's not giving him much to do from there. If, let's say, I'm going to grab Eddie from behind, which is crazy because this guy's taller than me. I have to extend my center of gravity up to get him. You can become very vulnerable at that point. So as I go to get him, I have to sort of give him a nudge in his center of gravity to pull him back a bit, rather than me reach up. Because if I have to reach up and he bends forward, I'm losing my center of gravity. It's not smart. You have to be aware of what you're doing, because you're giving the other guy great opportunities to defend against you. So when I come to do this, now I'm not taking him right down, because then I have to hold him up. He's got more body weight than I want to hold up. So in this position, Eddie's going to defend. And this is good. He's coming around to come in this position. If you look at this and you understand where his energy hit me, as where his energy is coming. Now if he actually hit me hard, I'd actually have to go with it. Now as he goes to hit me, and I go with this, sorry Eddie, we just choked him out a bit. In this position here, I'll even turn him for the camera. There. We're contorting his arm out with his shoulder. Sorry, Eddie, I'll set you down. If I hold him up, it's going to hurt him very much. But if I hold him, if I bend over, that takes away from my force. For me staying up here, I'm a lot stronger, which is a better position. In this position here, his carotid artery is open again too. Where I can hit him here, I can hit him in the cheek, I can hit him with a hammer strike. There's not much he can do from that point. Now why I do this is, it'd be easy for me to just do techniques on him, so I'd rather just counter his counters, make it a bit more interesting for you. So let's say I grab a hold of Eddie in this position, he's going to counter me. He doesn't like this. And as he is, I don't know if you realize this, where I step back to, I'll play it back so that you can see, because I'm in total control here. But it's a bit quick for you guys to realize what happened there. When I was here, I just grabbed him, he went to counter, and he came here. See where my feet is? Or are? At the same time that he went to do that, and I didn't know what he was going to do, I just told him to defend from the grab. When he did that, I stepped here, which changed his center of gravity. I sit down, it takes his leg out. I still have his arm, I can arm bar him, I can come to strike him. It's all good. So you have to, let's say Eddie comes to strike me, and as he does, I come to strike him. What you might not realize is I took on the center of gravity. I have my leg pushing on his knee behind. I have his arm in a position to pop on my chest. But I'm also rating, like let's say he's a hulking strong guy, he bent his elbow before I extend it up. Now I don't have him. So the way that he's pulling, which when we talk about balance, we're balancing energy at the same time. So the energy that's coming this way is the way that he's going to go. And again, it being in a position where I want to roll his center of gravity over by pushing this arm up against my leg in this position here, turning him out this way. Now again, when I come up here, I'm actually using my leg to power his arm up. If I wanted to, I'm laughing because one of my instructors at one point in time used to fish hook people, and sometimes he'd scoop you by your nostrils. And I seen Eddie's nostrils sort of flare there because in the position that he's in, it's kind of extenuating him, but I choose not to do that because it's funny to watch other people do it, but it's not nice to happen to you. If I come to strike Eddie, defend, and I come to strike him, by the way, it's important when I come to strike him, because I strike him with an awareness. Number one, I know that if I came to strike him this way, he can punch me in the face. I know that. So he's in a fighting stance. When I come to strike him, I was guarding at the same time. Now he did good, because he's a pretty smart guy. He moved to the outside. If he would have moved this way, it would have been a lot worse for him. But he did move this, he's cutting an angle. So he's going to continue his defense, which I don't know what it is. And in doing so, energy's coming towards me, so I'm going with the energy. I'm twisting the wrist around at the same time, so I can pull him out, and the wrist working down. See how he wanted to roll all the way around? You didn't know Eddie was a breakdancer, did you? So when I pull him back down this way, in this position here, I can then take his arm out, be in a position to strike him and finish him off. It's quite effective. So you have to be aware of where somebody's going to go and what they're going to do. If, let's say, we're going to really make it tricky. Eddie's going to come to choke me. Now, I'm going to try to, this side he has more strength, because that's where his center of gravity opens up to. So I'm just going to try to turn him out this way. Eddie's a smart guy. He's going to counter me by stepping outside of me. It's an awareness. If you don't have an awareness, you get thrown, you get manipulated, you get controlled, you get hurt. So in this position, I go to do this, he steps around me, now he's pulling me back. So I have to go back with it again. We're back here. I stay in tight because I want to take away his center of gravity from his body and extend it out to mine. Right? He has a bit of resistance. I'm going to punch him right here. Like this. Or like this with a knife hand. This works really well. If I then step back from this position to be on this side where I give him a couple strikes to the head, to my knees, or a palm strike to the base of the skull, it all works. If I pull him too high, he's going to have to roll over. It's going to put him in a defensive position again. I prefer not to give him too much. The energy and awareness, it's really important because if you use too much force on people, they go into what is a freak out mode, where they're not like consciously thinking, they're reacting. So that's what you get quite often when you see somebody resisting a police officer. You don't know that this person really doesn't want to resist the police officer. They're just in such excruciating pain because the police officer is kneeling on his head on the curb. And if you've never had the joy, try it someday, because the pain is tremendous. And it puts you into a different threshold where you lose your concept of reality and you just start doing a funky chicken any which way you can to deal with the pain. So you have to be aware that if you hurt somebody too much, you're actually giving them more force, because when their body goes into the shock mode, it changes their whole system. The endocrine system kicks in, releases all sorts of chemicals, and as that happens, and your heart rate's already doing 120, you're going to flail and find any opening that you can to get out. So sometimes it's not good to use too much force, unless there's no practical way. It depends on the situation, on the reality. Because yeah, if you're in a theater of war and you have to finish this guy because the next guy's ready to stick a bayonet in your back, sometimes you have to take him out in the most effectively way possible. If you're in a school system and you're a teacher or something like that, you can't do that, because you're going to be sued, you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose everything you have. So there has to be a big difference in your state of mind, your environment. When I say awareness, and the magnitude of awareness has to be so great, you have to not only be aware of what's happening, but what he can do, what you can do, and your environment around you. If there's tables, if there's chairs, if there's support beams, everything's important. Whatever's around you can be used for you or against you, depending on your awareness. Here again, I'm coming to strike Eddie. I'm going to give him a big hook. He blocked wrong, he got hit. Nevertheless, he's a strong guy, he can take that hit, he continues to fight me, he goes to counter me, and I go with the force again. But instead of doing what I normally did, because I did this a few times over with the wrist lock, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to come into this position and come to break his arm here. Now let's say that my footing wasn't good and I lean back. Now Eddie can take me backwards. And I have to then come back into this position. But he saved himself, sort of, because I had him in a wrist lock. He just turned out of it. Now in this position I have him in a torqued arm position. His defense is here. He's trying to intercept my hand, but my elbow is going to hit him in the face. My knife hand is going to hit him in the throat. He goes to fight because he continues fighting, because in reality, people don't stop for you. You hit them, but they're still moving. They're still fighting for their life. There's no like hitting him and he's done. Because in reality, you'll be surprised at what the punishment some people can take and keep on fighting. So Eddie keeps on fighting because he's going to die. you're going to die, Eddie. You better fight a bit harder. What are you going to do? If I feel that I was going to lose from Eddie, I would find where right now his weakness is here. Now, I don't want him to roll over. I want to hit him in the face. That allowed me to come back in this position where I have his arm again. It's a good thing he let go of me because he would have been torqued out a bit further. I have his arm in this position. What can you do, Eddie? Nothing. Yeah. But I can come to strike you in your kidneys. If I wanted to come down and elbow him in the kidneys, I can do so. If I want to close this back up against his face, I can do so. It's my present. The world is mine. Everything we do has to be a reflection of what your attacker can do, and where he is has so much change. And he comes to strike me, and as he comes to strike me, looking at his position of his strike, I froze him here, but now he's realizing, oh boy, if you hold yourself out like this, it's going to be nasty, because the first thought in your head is I'm going to get roundhoused in my stomach. If I'm not going to get roundhoused in my stomach, I'm going to get a Charlie horse in my knee. But the Charlie horse is going to come with that elbow at the same time, so it's really a nasty spot. So if Eddie is aware of that punch, for him to grow, he won't throw his punch past the center of gravity. Eddie comes to throw his punch, and now I don't have all those gifts anymore. He can actually cut my angle. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm cheating because I'm smarter. I'm aware of a few other things that people aren't aware of, because I do stop the knee from him cutting. But let's say I didn't get his knee and he did cut that angle. He's coming around, cut the angle. I have to then, if I'm not aware, if I think he can punch and I'm going to block this way, it's not practical. It can't happen. Nobody, you're just not going to be quick. I got to reach across my body to block something that's coming at me. It's unlikely. He comes to strike me, I have to bring my elbow in this position. Again, contorting him, he's in a nasty position here. I'm aware of where he was. Not only could I do that, I didn't want to throw him out too far, because I will. Are you all right, Eddie? Yeah. You can see, because of his body position, I could easily pull him out there, and that would have been that for Eddie. So we'll give you a break there, Eddie. Come back up here, Mike. Okay, let's say I give Mike an arm lock. Go ahead, go for the lock. I give it to you. It's a gift. And I feel this. My center of gravity's feeling it. People go to fight this. And that's how they get broken. I want to shoot out in the way that he wants to. I want to come back this way, come back inside of him. Now, I have both of his legs. I'm spreading them out because I want to condition which way he comes to strike, because he can still strike me from this side or this side. If I didn't have my knee, if I didn't have my legs in the position that they are, he could actually do a knee drop on me in my groin. Imagine that. I wouldn't want that. So he continues doing what he's doing, and I take the center of gravity away from him, except for he stopped the motion. And in this position, I'm just, from here, he's leaning forward, so I'm just going to push him out this forward in this position here. He's not going to go for that. Go ahead, Mike. Carrying on. Mike's going to continue fighting because he's a smart guy. Now, in this position, it's good that he put my other foot down, because it's going to come to kick him, and this is going to come to kick him, this is going to come to kick him. They're all going to come to kick him, but nevertheless, when I come out, it's going to take him down. I just toyed with him until I wanted to do it. This position, I don't want him coming up, so I have to come back to turn his ankle this way. I cross it over his other leg, because I was aware that if I didn't, he was going to roll over on me. If you're not aware of things, if I left this leg here, he would roll over, be in the position that I was just in. Would be smart. I'm not going to go and play with him there. It's not smart. You have to have an awareness. Hey, look at that. I'm losing money. Canadian money too.
Not worth anything down here.
Let's say I come to roundhouse Mike. Now if I want to roundhouse somebody, I'm not just going to roundhouse him like this. It's just giving him too much of a gift. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of move him this way, and then when I change the body weight, his body weight changes, and I got him changing so he can't ride my kick. What I mean by riding the kick is, if I just come to kick him and he's going in the direction that my kick was going, he's like catching an egg, but with my kick. So I don't want to give him that opportunity. So I'm just sort of playing with him. I'm coming over, and then when I change, say here, now he comes into me. Because most people can take a kick, believe it or not. And when they do, and they're mad and they want to hurt you, they don't step back and block. They keep motoring through you. So I'm moving around. I go to kick him, and he's motoring through me. It's an awful, awful place for me to be. But I'm aware. I'm going to use, keep coming. I'm going to wait for his strike, let it come through. Now, I don't have him good. I'm aware of that. Somebody might think I have him good, but too much of his body is on this side of his elbow without my body being there. It's not effective. Big guy like this is going to fight out of it and give you a punch in the face to go with it. So if I was in this position and I pull him away from his center, it allows me to control him. If I wasn't and he came to punch me, I have to then again cross him over again. I would have crossed him over and stayed up here, but I wanted to face the cameras. So in this position here, he can still have strength. I'm going to see that his arm started to bend, and he's a stronger guy than me. So I'm going to put my leg here and use my leg to extend it out here. Here where I can feed him my elbows, he's got to pretty much do a flip. If I don't stretch him out like I did before and put his arm out in front of him, go ahead, flip for me, Mike. Yeah, and he's going to come up and boom, right in the nuts, kick to the face. I'm aware of all this stuff. Because if you're not aware, you're going to be wearing it. So as soon as he goes to flip, I have to turn him out. As soon as he goes to flip, as he's in the process of flipping, I have to turn him out. In a superior position, I'm not going to bend over to strike him. I'm going to drop my whole body weight and strike him with my whole body weight. If I wanted to hurt him more, I'd come up here. If I wanted to then come to choke him, I could come to choke him. It's all good. You'll be surprised at your awareness. You have to be aware. There's energy, there's balance, there's counterbalancing of energy. Everything is important. If he comes to strike, and I'm aware of where she had a lot of momentum and carried his body weight through him, which is good. It was nice. I didn't know how he was going to strike, but he struck. I guarded this arm here. Very important, because if I didn't, I'm getting the elbow under my chin or in my throat. I guarded the arm here. I guarded the leg here. I hit him in the carotid artery here. I come back to choke him, or I come back to strike him, or I come back to drop him. It's all good. I have to be aware of everything that he can do from his position and what I can do to defend against it. Hope you enjoyed yourselves.